So welcome back to the second part of our how-to video, where we're making a fairground ride that's like a basic carousel, and we made the physical ride in the first part, and then we connected up the electronics, the crumble, and this time we're going to be programming the electronics. So this is the programming interface. Just like Scratch, you have different panels here across the top, and you start by clicking dragging out a program. You can only have one thread running or one block running at a time in this at the moment, unlike Scratch, which obviously is much more complex and you can have all sorts of blocks running. So what I wanted to start off to do to test my model is to just see if I can get the motor up and running, spin it in one direction, pause it, and then spin it in the other direction. So in order to do that, to start the motor, we connect it to motor 2. If you remember on the crumble, we said we'll go forward. And this is the percentage of the kind of power or voltage. And I know from experience that about 20% is just about enough to keep it going. And we'll start it up at that higher voltage for about 1 second. I'll probably then just keep that going for about 4 seconds at there. What we'll then do is we'll stop it. So we're going to stop motor 2. Get some interesting bugs at this time, by the way. If you don't put motor 2 there, it will just keep going, and that'll really be interesting for the children to be debugging a system. Where is it? Is it hardware to debugging, or is it the computer program, the software? So we stop the motor, and then we want to fire it up in a reverse direction. So it's motor 2 again. This time instead of forward, reverse, and once again 20% of the power. And we'll this time we need a delay. We need to put some time in how long we're going to let that motor spin for. Let's say once again 4 seconds, and then finally we stop the motor, making sure we stop motor 2. Let's see how that works in our model. So that seemed to work fine. So we're going to focus on the sparkle now. What we're going to do is, instead of having these just kind of wait 4 seconds there, the motor's going to be operating until we stop it. So instead of just waiting, the computer program waiting and doing nothing, let's get it to do a flash pattern for these sparkles. So if we go to our control block here, we'll say do this 30 times. Obviously the children will have to experiment with this before they get this right, about the right amount of time. We'll go to the sparkles panel. And what I want to do first is, in that loop, I want to set the sparkle to red, and then I want to leave it on red for, let's say, 100 milliseconds. So it's flashed red, and I want to turn the sparkle off. And the number refers to the fact that this is the first sparkle in the chain. We've only got one, and you can put 1 for the next sparkle in the chain if there was another sparkle, and so on. That's how it works. So that turns it off, but we need to put a bit of a delay in there, or we won't notice it going off. It'll be on again so quick we won't notice it ever went off. And so if we just test that bit of the program now. I know I've lost the second half of the program. We'll see what that does. So welcome back. That worked fine. Apart from, there was no stop command for the motor, so the motor continued indefinitely, and eventually the sparkle stops flashing, so I had to terminate the program with the red box, but that's not a problem. So all we'll do to finish this really now is to put a similar construction to this in, so that on the reverse loop we're doing something similar, flashing, but perhaps a different color. We'll go for blue this time. So after that, do 30 times. We stop the motor, we reverse the speed, and if you remember, we did have a delay in there of 4 seconds, which is over here. We did have that there. So instead of that, we're going to have a loop. Do a loop, and we'll do 30 times, and we'll turn the sparkle on, and we'll make it blue. Set sparkle 0 to blue, and we'll leave it blue for 100 milliseconds. Whoops. Try to access that bit of code below. There we go. Just make sure that's connected properly. Then we'll take the sparkle and turn it off. And we must, this is the commonest bug, by the way, that the children do, is they forget to put in this little delay when they turn it off, because it just goes round the loop and switches it on, so there's no delay between the on-off, and you just have it on all the time, it doesn't pulse. So you'd put that in, and then finally when that loop's complete, you stop the motor. Let's see how that works.